Good morning, everyone. This is Julie McDonald with Microcom Technologies, and I'd like to thank all of you for attending today's webinar with Peplink. Today's host is Jason. He is their technical marketing engineer and trainer, and he'll be presenting today. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free to submit them in the question box, and I'll ask Jason at the end of today's presentation. Jason, I am finished for now. Please go ahead and take it on over.
All right, thanks so much, Julie. As Julie said, my name is Jason. I'm one of the technical marketing engineers over here at Peplink, and today I kind of want to go over one of the features in our gear that does give some people a few problems as far as implementation, our captive portal and tagging on social Wi-Fi to it. First off, captive portal, what is it? It is a custom splash page that you could set up for your Wi-Fi guests to be able to authenticate and connect up to the network. We do have multiple authentication methods available, and multiple authentication methods can be active at any given moment, and the page is completely customizable with graphics, text, terms and conditions, etc. The flow of things is basically like this. Customers would go ahead and log on, for example, with social Wi-Fi in this instance, using their Facebook credentials to go ahead and access onto the internet. With In Control 2, our cloud-based management tool working in the background, it does allow you to start to collate some demographic information of users that you have on the network to perhaps potentially start to monetize and shape advertising for those people. How do we set things up? Step one, from In Control 2, we're going to set this up on the group level. We go under Network Settings, Captive Portals, and the New Captive Portal. And it's at this point, I'll take a quick aside to talk about social Wi-Fi. Social Wi-Fi is an authentication method where you have your end user log on to the network using a variety of social media platforms. We currently support Facebook, Google ID, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Sina Weibo, as well as WeChat. And it's simply a matter of designating which one you want to use for your access. In addition, if an end user does want to opt out of the social media platform to get onto the internet, that way you can certainly designate that in one of the sub-menus we'll take a look at here in the moment. Once you've decided what social Wi-Fi platforms you're looking to add on, just simply go ahead and complete the captive portal setup process. One of the things that you could designate on there is a custom landing page. Once you have authenticated, you can have them route to a company company Facebook page, just a straight up web page, etc., before they get out to the internet. In addition, this is also where you would do the customization of the page, and it is simply fill in the blanks as well as drop down menus. It's at this point under the social network sign-in mode that you do have the ability to go ahead and designate a skip sign-in for the social media platforms and just have them go on through via open access. Once you have your captive portal set up, then we need to tie it to a VLAN network to separate your guest traffic away from your day-to-day behind the scenes. So we're going to go under Network Settings, VLAN Settings, VLAN Networks, and then Add a Network. And it's here you go ahead and designate a VLAN tag, set up your subnet for the particular VLAN tag. And it's from here that you would go ahead and tie the captive portal to the VLAN. Once you have the VLAN set up and the captive portal tied to it, we just go ahead and set up the SSID settings. Group level, Wi-Fi AP, group-wide SSID settings. Make sure that we're have designated Wi-Fi management and go ahead and add an SSID. And it's here that you tie the VLAN to the SSID. Where people do get confused a bit is you do also see a captive portal tie-in at the end of the SSID settings. The rule of thumb is if we do have a Peplink balance or max device, something acting as the router, go ahead and tie the captive portal to the VLAN, leave it blank on the SSID. If you are going to be using one of our PepWave AP products separate from a balance or a max device, that's where you can go in and designate captive portal on the SSID. Basically, we need one of our products to be the brains behind the captive portal page you're throwing up. Once you have the captive portal set up, the VLAN designated and the captive portal tied to it, and the VLAN tied to the captive portal, we're just about done here. You'll know you're successful when back on the group level, you'll see that little door icon associated to the particular device governing the captive portal. And when somebody attempts to log in to that SSID, you should see the Powered by Peplink captive portal page come up. The login flow looks like this. The customer will see the applicable SSID, associate to it, hit the captive portal page, and in this instance, we're using Facebook, log in with their Facebook credentials, and then get routed to the particular splash page that that whatever you have set up on in Control 2. So now that you have people starting to associate to your device, you can start to gather that social media information that we talked about. For example, age, gender, marital status, home countries, a lot of demographic information gets collated back in Control 2. You can use this information for future ad campaigns with one of our add-on services that we call the ad delivery server that is also governed through IC2. To take a look at those reports, we just do so again under the group level, reports, captive portal reports. And this is what it's going to look like. You'll see access information graphed out, date, time, and then some of your user information, demographics, and client devices that they're using to hit the service. For example, here, this is me using a test unit inside the office here with my Facebook credentials. And then you'll see it does give you quite a bit of information. In essence, what it's using is what you front face to the whatever social media platform you're using. With Facebook here, you would see my email, a birthday, a hometown, gender, marital status, as well as where you're accessing the devices at and the type of device that we're using. In this case, it was my iPhone 7. Once you have that information set up, then we can start to look at ad server support for Control 2. This way it allows Wi-Fi providers can serve up targeted ads during that login process. And we do have a few means available to us. Before moving on, it would be going ahead and answering some quick survey questions, taking a look at a short video, or have banner ads throughout the session once they get past authentication. These ads are targeted by client location, as well as time of login and demographic info that you're shaping together. And again, the path is fairly similar to what we saw before. A client is going to hit the captive portal, go ahead and authorize with their various social media platforms. Everything goes back to Control 2, GPS information, demographic information, and then with the ad delivery server, you have your campaign set up within Control 2 that can be served up. And then you'll start browsing after seeing those promotions that you put into play. A few hitches can come up during the captive portal process, which is kind of what prompted us to go down this topic for today's information. One thing that commonly happens is that when you are setting up your captive portal page, you think you have everything configured properly, but the captive portal page isn't coming up. One of the first things to take a look at here is, again, on the group level, settings, and in control options. Make sure that disable device reporting and disable live status queries are unchecked. This can interrupt the page load process and not get the captive portal to arise. Another one that has started to come up a bit lately affects more on the Apple side of products, where the page isn't going to load once you go to authentication. And the thing to keep an eye on is under your customization settings, you do have the ability to show a number of languages for the portal. Make sure that we're keeping things under 10 languages for now, or the page may have problem loading all the way. Now, again, this is more so affecting Apple products, and I'm sure engineering is at this point still trying to figure out the best way to work around this with firmware updates on our side. But in the interim, let's make sure to keep it under 10. It does default to just showing whatever the native language of the account holder is currently. So out of the box, not usually a problem unless you start adding on other ones to the unit. Short and sweet today. Captive Portal is a powerful tool that we can bring to the table, especially when you start to pair things with the ad delivery service. And setting up things in the configuration process takes a lot of headaches out of the out of the deployment once it hits the field. Does anybody have any questions about that process?
Hi, Jason. Thank you very much for that presentation, and it looks like I'm going to get a few questions here. Meanwhile, awesome. Can you tell me about the captive portal? How long has Peplink offered this?
In one form or another, we've actually had captive portal for a few years, in addition to being able to serve it up via now the primary method is through Control 2. We did have our WLAN controller within the Balancer Max UI for about roughly 3 to 4 years, but it was a fairly stripped down version to what we have in play now. We have since spun the captive portal off from Wi-Fi only in those instances, being able to apply it directly onto the LAN for wired and wireless. This is why we have the VLAN capability to segment things out a bit further to kind of bring back some of that same functionality. I like the current version a lot better, being able to push it down to multiple units from the cloud to be able to configure things a lot easier from the cloud from Control 2, and it's only going to get better.
Thank you very much, Jason. Can you tell us if the captive portal is a paid service?
It isn't. It's part and parcel with the gear. The one caveat on that, of course, is in control access. In control does require usually warranty, depending on the product, or at least an in control subscription to be able to access things. So as long as you have the unit covered one way or the other, there's nothing additional for captive portal, no.
Thank you, Jason. Next question here. Is the captive portal available to the consumer and the end user?
Whoever has control of the device, basically. We end users have certainly purchased the gear, and then they would have access, if they have access to the in control account, and a device that can serve it up. So, we don't really make a distinction that way for it. It's whoever has admin rights to the IC2 account.
Thank you. I understand. Next question here. Can we set multiple captive portal profiles with the AP controller?
Well, we're talking about two different things there. The AP controller is more so the Peplink side, the device side, setting things up outside of in Control 2. It's going to be one or the other. If you have the AP controller up and running, it kind of locks things out from the IC2 side. Can you have multiple captive portals up? As long as you have one of our enterprise class ones, you can set up multiple profiles, multiple VLANs, and tie captive portals to those particular VLANs. Yes.
Thank you, Jason. Next question here. Are there advanced features that are at a cost?
No, again, it's everything up front. As long as you have in-control access, you have control to the full suite. Now again, if you're using one of the Velocity series products, you're not able to set up as many captive portals for that particular deployment because you only have the one default profile. But as far as features within the captive portal itself, you have access to everything.
Thank you, Jason. Hey, can you give us a brief overview on where the products are manufactured?
Sure. Peplink is a global company, but our headquarters is based out of Hong Kong. Everything is 100% in-house. Manufacturing is primarily Hong Kong and Taiwan, to the best of my knowledge.
Thank you, Jason. Next question here. If anyone is having any difficulties in setting up the captive portal, can you give us an overview on how to reach you for support?
Support is driven through the point of sale, of course. So, you would reach out to your partner in that, or Microcom, and if their team isn't able to answer, they would route the questions up to us. Otherwise, of course, our form is always available. Just form.peplink.com. We do answer some basic questions on our social media platforms as well, but a lot of times if it does get too over the top, for lack of a better word, we would route you into into the ticketing system, to the support team.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Next question here. Is the portal available on all the Peplink devices?
The captive portal is available pretty much across the board. About the only outlier that I can think about off the top of my head is the Surf on the Go. I do believe we finally rolled it into the Soho not too long ago. Again, as I was saying earlier, with the captive portal not being, directly associated to the Wi-Fi, when you set it up within the unit, within in-control too, pretty much as long as it's got a Wi-Fi AP or a dedicated Wi-Fi, you can put a portal on it.
Excellent, thank you. Getting back to the reaching out for support and at the point of sale, so if Microcom needed to reach out to Peplink, can you let the hours of support, or should we go online? What would be the best way to reach out to you guys?
For the team at Microcom?
Yes.
Sure. You would have access, of course, to the as a partner of ours, you would have access to our priority ticketing system here that does get up to the support team directly. We do, the team does always want to make sure that, the basics have been covered, that we have a diagnostic report, a good description of the issue, the applicable serial numbers, as well as remote access enabled in one form or another, so we can hit the ground running and not waste everybody's time. But again, you guys should certainly have access to that priority ticketing queue as a reseller of ours.
Thank you very much. That makes sense. Just wanted to clarify, so that was perfect.
Sure.
Jason, thank you so much for answering all of those questions. And thank you to everyone for attending today's webinar. And if anyone has any other questions, please feel free to contact your sales rep or email us at sales@microcomtech.com. If you wish to view any of the products mentioned shown today, please visit us at www.microcom.us. And also remember, this webinar presentation has been recorded and it will be uploaded to our Microcom YouTube channel so you can view it again. Thank you, Jason, again for your time and your presentation today. We all appreciated it and enjoyed your presentation very much today. Thanks, everyone.
All right.
Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks so much, Julie. Thanks, guys, for letting me talk to you here on short notice, and have a great one.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye now.